SJM when I catch you. Every side character that says that, I am afraid. I'm finally going to be reading the CRESCENT City series. This book, the first one, is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. If you guys do not know, Sarah J Maas is one of my favorite authors. I read Throne of Glass. Throne of Glass is probably my favorite series ever. Aelin Asherberg Galathinius is probably, no, not probably, she is my favorite female main character. ACOTAR is my favorite romance of all time. I just reread that entire series and I read A Court of Silver Flames for the first time. So good, 5 stars. And I have both those videos up on my channel. And now my best friend and I have decided to read Crescent City. I currently have this book in my possession, and I also have the third one, which my best friend gifted to me when she asked me to be her maid of honor, which was like so sweet. I don't have book 2. We're on the hunt for that right now, and I really want to find it because the editions that are at Barnes right now, I went the other day and it was Barnes exclusive, and I didn't want to buy it because I already have this and I have the other book in hardcover, and I just don't want 3 different versions of the same series. Do you understand what I mean? And also I was really scared that it wasn't going to be the same height as this, and the other one is already bigger than this, so I was like, I can't have it not matching at all. Like, that would just drive me crazy. So I'm trying to find House of Scott. I think it's Sky and Breath, the blue one with the naked man on the cover. And I'm super excited because I was spoiled, and I do know that this is connected to ACOTAR. I am so excited to see those characters come back to life. I just love that universe so much. Like, if I can visit one fictional place, it would be Valaris, and I'm so attached to the Inner Circle and their family that I just like cannot believe it's connected, and I would love Sarah J Maas to have her whole SJM universe. I'm so excited for that. I'm a little worried because I know that this one is very urban, and I heard a rumor that this was inspired by Zootopia. I don't usually read urban fantasies, so like I'm wondering if it's gonna throw me off. And my best friend started, and she said it's like a lot of world building, a lot of words that she has to learn. I just can't imagine Azriel being in the same universe with an iPhone. I'm intrigued, but also a little concerned about that. Basically, the premise is that Bryce Quaylen, she's half fae, half human. She lives in this like city, and there was a murder, and now there's like hints that the murderer could be at large again. And so her and this fallen angel Hunt have to figure out why these murders are happening. It's a little bit different than the normal premise. And I'm in Virginia right now, and I'm on a road trip. So like I do have opportunity to read. Usually I ignore maps, I'm not gonna lie, but I should probably take note of it because the map in ACOTAR is like so important. Guys, we're at the gym. For basic, my mom has to run, but I'm gonna walk on the treadmill and I'm gonna attempt to read. I've never actually attempted to walk on a treadmill and read at the same time, but I started a little bit of it and I want to continue. So let's get started. Chapter 6. I got so mad when I was reading this. You guys saw me reading this at the beach. I actually ended up finding at a bookstore near the beach House of Sky and Breath, and I was so happy that I did because I couldn't find anything other than the Barnes exclusive copy. But this was like an independent bookstore and it had the copy I wanted, so I was really excited. And then on the beach I was reading Crescent City. I got so mad because I was right. I guessed it. I knew that Danica was gonna die because she was too good of a friend, way too powerful. She had nowhere to go in terms of like character development, and also Bryce needed a kick in the ass. Like, she didn't really have any motivation in terms of trauma or like a goal in life. Like, she didn't really have any of that, so I was like, what is gonna set her off other than Danica dying? However, didn't realize that literally every one of her friends was also gonna die. So I got really mad and I stopped reading after that at the beach. And so today I thought, because I have some free time, I will do some reading right now until I have to go run in the afternoon. Now 22% of the way through Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. I'm on chapter 15, page 178. I have a lot of questions. I am so confused about all the terms that are being used. Again, I just wish there was a glossary. First impressions, I think this is such a different vibe than any other of SJM's work. I felt like Heart of Glass and ACOTAR were sister series. The settings were very similar. I think that the characterization was really similar, and this is just so out there because there's technology and cars, clubs and drugs and like all this kind of stuff. Now, as far as Bryce's character, I think that she is so different from Aelin and Feyre in the fact that she is somebody who was really partaking in the pleasures of living in a city, drugs, alcohol, partying, sex, like all this kind of stuff. It felt so different from Aelin and Feyre, who like never had the privilege of that kind of stuff. They were starving, enslaved, miserable, poor. Like, it's so different. And I'm wondering how Bryce's character is going to change as the novel goes on, especially since she stopped drinking. She's obviously grieving. I really do like Hunt's character. It's interesting to get his perspective. And the one thing that I think is so interesting about reading about Bryce and Hunt is because they are part of a hierarchy and they are not necessarily at the top. Feyre and Rhys, High Lord and High Lady, they answered to no one. The end of the story was that they are the most powerful. Rowan and Aelin, they weren't the most powerful at the start of the story, but at the end of it, they were king and queen. Rowan, who was like a Fey male, and once he was liberated, like he and Aelin didn't really answer to anyone. They were fighting for their kingdom. Here you have Bryce and Hunt. Hunt, who is literally enslaved. And you have Bryce, who is half Fey, but she's also half human, which is seen as like a disadvantage, and she has no powers. They're not at the top of the food chain, and I think that is so interesting to start there. That's like just a different dynamic when they are beholden not only to like external evil forces, but also the forces of capitalism. You know what I mean? Like, I also got the first chapter from Rune's perspective. I like him. I think that he's a really cool character. I also like that we have that little tidbit about him lying to his father about what the Oracle told him. He told his father, oh, the Oracle said I'm going to be a great king. Really what she said was the royal bloodline will die with you. He lied about it, and now his father's demanding that he marries to produce an heir. Maybe there's like a loophole to that. I feel like that's more of a loophole thing, like the royal bloodline will die with you. What do I think about what the hell is going on here? I believe Danica is not as great as she seemed. I believe that she was into some shady shit, because when Briggs was being released in the beginning, she was really sus about it, like more so than just somebody who wanted to ensure public safety. Bryce was looking at her and she was thinking, you look sweaty, you're frowning, and you know, she was like, you don't usually act like this, and she was just like, oh, like I just, you know, I don't want him to be released. I'm wondering why that is. I understand that he was set to bomb a club. It wasn't actually bombed. I think that maybe Danica and her pack arrested Briggs falsely. Either they assumed that he would do something bad, or they made a mistake by arresting him, and to cover it up, the wolves could not have that scandal, so the wolves set this demon up to kill Danica. Number 2, Oracle person that's like zooming around. I think that maybe she told Danica, like, you know, this person will be your undoing, or this person will do these things. And so Danica took it into her own hands to stop that from happening. I feel like there was some nefarious things going on there. It will come to light that Danica was not as spotless as she seemed. And I do think it's an inside job. I am wondering how all this is gonna unfold. I'm really excited to read the rest of this. It was really slow at first, but honestly, now that we've gotten into like the murder mystery of it all, I really like it. All right, guys, ignore the mess behind me, please. I flew through 65% of this book. I feel like after we reached Danica's death and we reached through like her getting set up with Hunt and Micah, really flew by for me, and suddenly I just couldn't put it down. And this isn't even accurate because I read more while I was getting my nails done. What's been happening? Some developments. They met up with Briggs in like a interrogation room. Briggs actually led on to the fact that Danica was actually soft on him, and that was the 3rd time that she had caught him, and she was like, listen, I can't let you go again. And then on top of that, we also got confirmation that Danica did steal the horn. I was thinking that she did because she was on guard at the temple, and also like she was really curious about why Jessica wanted it in the first place. What I am curious about is what Danica thought she would do with it. My theory, I believe that Bryce inherited the Starborn powers from her line, because if you guys recall, Rune, who is her brother, her half-brother, received shadow powers, but also a little tiny bit of the Starborn powers, but it wasn't enough. It's definitely not enough to repair the horn. So I'm like, somebody's got to do it. And I think that that is Bryce. She's like reminiscing about Danica and about this important pivotal moment where Danica finally says, like, you know, I love you as like a friend. She like never said it. And then that night they were in so much danger that she was like, I love you, Bryce. Like she thought they were going to die. Bryce says, close your eyes. And then we don't get any more of the flashback. Now, what I think happened is that she told Danica to close her eyes so that she could use that Starborn ability to blind and kill them. And she did say that she killed them. And so I'm like, if Danica couldn't have killed these people, but she could, she must have a power somewhere. Hunt goes to see the Oracle to get some information, and the Oracle is pissed at Bryce still. Apparently, Bryce saw the Oracle when she was like 13, and the Oracle was blinded by looking in her future. And I think that means that Bryce has huge blinding light Starborn powers, giant FU, and sew up Bryce's alley. So that's my theory about how the horn was gonna be used. What I don't understand is why Danica thought to take it in the first place. The purpose of the horn is to either open or close rifts. I do know where this is going. I know that this is gonna connect to ACOTAR eventually, and I'm wondering if this is like the setup to go to other universes. What I don't understand is why Danica would want that, or if she was trying to prevent somebody from like having this device. What I don't get is why nobody's asking Jessica who is interested. Jessica knows that they're investigating this, and Bryce never like considered like that a buyer reached out to Jessica to be like, hello, I want the horn. Jessica is very sus. She just gave them like a fish tank, weird species in it. People are theorizing that like these are like her former lovers or people who crossed her in the past that she's turning into these animals. Also, Hunt and Bryce are finally getting a little bit spicier. She just took care of him in the shower and got what is up with Sarah J Maas and lavender soap. She's like washing Hunt with lavender bar soap, and I'm like, God damn it. I really like it. In the beginning it was so slow and I was just like very resistant to get into it, but now I'm so intrigued and I'm very excited that I have 2 more books to read because like it's just a very compelling murder mystery. We finished. 5 stars. I had such a rough time in the beginning like getting into it. I think just because I was nervous about like the universe and the fact that the murder of like all of her friends and her best friend like happened so quickly. But once we got to the investigation, the murders, all of the supernatural things, like I just picked up so quickly. I was reading any chance I could in my car, in between breaks at work, lunch, like breezed through the last like 50%. It was so good. SGM just knows how to do an ending so well. Every single piece of her ending was so intentional and drew on something emotional that I loved. Bryce didn't even use her ability on anyone until the very end because she still, even when she was risking her life, did not want to jeopardize her relationship with her brother. And the fact that she ended up having the Starborn ability when her brother barely had anything and her dad, he was like dismissing her. And I knew it. She had the Starborn ability and that's what she used to save Danica when they were in trouble. At the end, that is what she used to save everyone. She amplified the ability of the horn using that ability, closed the gates to hell. And then when she made the drop, when her and Danica, who was dead, who shouldn't be in anger, helped her make the drop with all of the abilities, all of the little tiny bits of magic through centuries that had been poured into the gate, she used that as her ability. I cannot wait to see full powered Bryce. She killed a governor with no ability. She had a rifle and a dream and she executed that perfectly. Oh my God, when she vacuumed up his ashes, I laughed so hard. That was just such a funny moment to me. Like, given her personality and everything we know about her, like that just fit her so well. I loved how she cleaned up her mess. And then on the flip side of that, we have Hunt, who thank God was released and is now freed and not in slavery anymore. The fact that he killed Sandra was so satisfying. So iconic. What a power couple. The 2 of them at the end were so sweet. I love that this relationship seemed way more relatable because like he had like all these pictures of them on their phone and they like made breakfast for each other and they like watched, you know, sports on the TV together and were really good friends walking around the city and like asking people to take pictures of them. Like it was just so accessible and like more relatable, I would say, than like the other SGM fantasy books because this is like in a modern setting, like an urban setting. I just loved it. I thought it was so cute. Again, like the endings were such callbacks to emotional moments. Bryce ended up killing Micah. She used her father's ability, her stepfather's. He taught her how to shoot a gun. He taught her how to load a rifle without even looking, and she used that to kill an archangel, not anything given by her father. The fact that at the end what gave her the seconds to kill Mike was Lehaba's sacrifice. When she said, I will not be afraid, SGM when I catch you, SGM when I catch you, every side character that says that, I am afraid. Lehaba like made this sacrifice because she knew that Syrinx was gonna die and that Bryce was gonna die if she did not ult Micah a little bit. The fact that I thought that the tank with this sea creature in it was a fish tank, there's a fucking lake in the library. I felt so dumb. I was like, why did I picture a tiny little fish tank with a little smiling creepy thing in it? It was literally a giant tank with a feeding platform. When it was like Bryce was swimming, I was like, swimming in what? Lahaba sacrificing herself even though Bryce freed her. Bryce literally freed her. Lahaba knew it and she was like, my first act as a free person is to save my friends. Stop. And then at the end, when all the wolves and the fae came to help Bryce defend the humans, I thought that Ethan's development in that moment was great. I loved that. The fact that Danica made the sacrifice of eternity so that she could help Bryce do the drop. And when Bryce did the ascent and no one believed in her, Hunt was giving her chest compressions and was like, screw you, I waited for you. The 80% to 90% mark of SJM's books always make me cry. This one was no exception. I definitely teared up when Bryce made the drop, when she saw Danica, when she saw her friends. The fact that the wolves were like waving to her from the bone quarter, like, oh, so good. And I can't wait to see Bryce with full powers and full abilities, because she has more power than her brother and her father now. Hunt, with him being freed, he's no longer restrained by the halo. He has his full ability again. He's so excited to see what happens, because like there is still slavery in the world and they're still suppressed. So I'm thinking that they're gonna form a rebellion of their own. I'm going to Virginia for the weekend, and in my bag, you better believe, I am bringing House of Sky and Breath. I am now 23% of the way through, which is about 177 pages. I'm on vacation in Virginia Beach. I've just been reading all day in between activities. The setup of this book so far is a lot different than book one, because book one felt more like murder mystery vibes. We were trying to figure out who Danica's killer was, what was going on with the drugs, the synth. This feels more like a typical Sarah J Maas book in my opinion, because it's more so about power development, war, political movements, different groups of supernatural beings. One thing I will say that I'm not a huge fan of is the fact that Hunt and Bryce are still not officially together. Hunt and Bryce just agreed that the last time we were like together, we were like trying to solve this murder and blah blah blah. Like it'd probably be beneficial if we were just friends first, and then by winter solstice we're get together. Now there's all these other players in the game. Okay, so first of all, it came out that Bryce is betrothed to this Avalon Fae prince person who's like an a-hole. Her father set that up against her will because he thought that it would be good heir-wise for her to reproduce with like another Fae, so that way they could continue having magic in their bloodline, and Bryce is like not about that. Secondly, Ethan, who was Connor's brother from book one, he's more of a main character in this story, and it turns out that he actually had a thing for Bryce this whole time. Not that he said it, but like Fury knew it, and Aiden, the freaking Prince of Hell, knows it. I don't really love their ambiguity. Like, I mean, come on, like you said I love you. They almost lost each other dying. Like, this is what I hate about fantasy books. It's like you do all these grand gestures and like all these things happen, and then you like, wait a minute, actually we're getting a lot more details about the rebellion. In the beginning of the book, it started with a character named Sophie who was trying to find her brother Emil, who was in a death camp because he was captured, and they are both a very rare supernatural being called Thunderbirds. Basically they can suck electricity and energy from anything and utilize it to whatever they want. And it turns out that Emil, this little kid, is a lot more powerful, and these creatures were supposed to be hunted to extinction. So like both the Asteri and also the rebels want to use them obviously for their abilities, but Sophie is presumed dead because the Hind tried to kill her and sunk her to the bottom of the ocean. But when Therion from book one, who is this merman, tried to find her body for the River Queen, she wasn't there. So now the theory is that she was somehow released from her chains, or she escaped herself, and she's supposed to be meeting her brother in Crescent City somewhere. And freaking Danica Fendir, every book we drag out something about her. She was somehow in her free time, amidst finding things about synth, tattooing the horn on her friend's back, she had somehow had time to email Sophie about the rebellion. The things that Danica did leading up to her death, it's starting to feel like the Alison De Laurentiis timeline. Her in that freaking yellow top against the world that night. Danica is giving me the same vibes. She literally did anything and everything the weeks before she died. I really do like exploring more of Therion's universe because he is a merman, but He does love, you know, living above, but he still needs to be in water, I think every couple hours, otherwise he would lose his fins forever. We're getting more about Ethan. I don't mind Ethan. I just think it's hilarious that both him and his brother were down bad for Bryce and neither of them has a chance with her. Like, the face card must be lethal. We're getting also more about Hunt's new boss. They replaced the Archangels. She brought in Pollux, the asshole from book 1, and Baxian, who we're learning is actually not that much of an asshole. I definitely want to get more into the development of powers. I really like that the Prince of Hell, which, like, he's monologuing as a white house cat. I like the accuracy of it. I get it. But when you start getting sentences that say she went hoof to toe with a man, what are we really doing here? And then we hear things like, she's so hot, all the way down to her hooves. Am I supposed to be okay with bestiality for the sake of this book? I don't think so. But anyway, the Prince of Hell keeps appearing to Bryce as a fucking house cat, monologuing about war and rebels. He's telling Bryce, like, you need to develop your abilities. The Asteri ruined history and said that the demons down in hell are the bad guys. And basically it's flipped. I'm also curious what Sophie has to do with it, because before she died, she said that she had intel and she didn't tell anyone. I really want to know what kind of intel she got and what she knows and how that could affect the war. I actually downloaded it on my phone because, like, look at this chunker. This isn't like easy for me to pull out, and also, like, I feel like I read faster on my phone. It's just more accessible. I spend a lot of time on my phone, and I always like the fact that, like, if I'm reading, I'm not scrolling on TikTok. 43% of the way through House of Sky and Breath. I've been reading on my phone all day. Best plot twist, and this is really what got me hooked into the book. Agent Silverbow, who is Sophie's boyfriend, got shot and couldn't save her in the beginning of the book, is Cormac. Cormac, the Prince of Avalon, who's trying to marry Bryce. Best plot twist so far in this book. I loved that. That's what got me, like, hooked into it. I was so happy, and I just feel like it's not gonna end well for them. I'm secretly hoping that she's alive just for his sake, because I really did not like him. Didn't like him when he entered the scene. He was, like, talking very, like, misogynistic, and, like, the minute he started talking about Sophie and he was like, my end goal was to find a way to spend my life with her, I was like, oh my god. So excited to learn that maybe she was possibly alive. Ruin is having this, like, psychic link with an agent of his own. Cormac had this crystal that Sophie was using to communicate with Agent Daybright. So she appears to Ruin as, like, this, like, flaming light walking body, and he doesn't know who she is. I think it's his mate, because he was like, why do you smell like that? Or he was saying, you sound familiar. So I don't know if it's someone he knows or if that's his mate. Right now he's kind of, like, trying to figure out who she is, and she's trying to tell him, like, stop giving information. She's literally like, stop telling me about yourself. I don't want you to say anything. Bryce has finally convinced herself to, like, learn more about her abilities. But the one thing that I clocked that makes me so excited, when he described how he teleports, it was the exact same phrase that Rhys and Feyre used in ACOTAR. Think of it like a piece of paper folding together. That's exactly how they described it in ACOTAR. I clocked that so quick. I was like, is that confirmation that, like, these two places have interacted before? I was like, please tell me that's, like, the case. Finally, between Hunt and Bryce, they were so vague and, like, non-committal about their relationship, and then now they went full steam ahead, and now Hunt is like, I'm gonna call you my mate. She's like, that's a little serious, and he's like, yeah, we're serious, so I'm gonna call you my mate. Right now, the scene that I'm at, they're talking to the Underking. Rune and Bryce got attacked by a bunch of Reapers. Bryce actually was able to kill the Reapers with her sword. That's not supposed to happen, because Reapers are already dead. They're not supposed, like, nothing can harm them. Like, a normal blade or a knife or really any weapon can harm them because they're dead already. They found out that Danica was doing research on the Asteri, and, like, she really didn't believe that the Asteri were stars that had been turned into a corporeal form. Like, that's the theory, that why the Asteri are so powerful is that they are stars that have, like, been turned into people. I'm thinking more so of the thought of, like, what if they're like the Valg? Like, if you read Throne of Glass, like, you remember the Valg, like, they came from another universe. So I'm like, what if these are beings from another universe, you know, that are pretending to be all good, pretending to be all powerful? I cannot believe I read so much in 2 days. The amount of world building that Sarah J Maas put into, she put her whole chest into the world building of this book. I really do have to credit her for that. Sarah J Maas, you really did that. I am home from Virginia and I've made some really good headway in House of Sky and Breath. I'm obsessed. The beginning was so slow. After like 40%, I was so invested and like I cannot stop reading. I read all day in the car yesterday. We drove home for 6 hours. I was just straight up reading the whole time. And then I went on a walk when I came home. I went on a run, then a walk, and then I just read that whole time. And then I read until I went to bed. Now I am at 83% of the way through the book. I only have like 100 pages left and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish it tonight. This book has been so fun. So many good developments and the romance has gotten so good that I'm just healing through it. Listen, Bryce and Hunt have made such good progress. Bryce was pissed because she's still in this engagement with Cormac and she used her name to do something really stupid. She announced herself as the princess to get June the principal role in the dance company that she's working with. She threw her name around and her father was like, well, since you're using my name, now you're a princess. You can get the title. You're gonna marry whoever I say you can. I legally changed your name to my name. Bryce just would not stand for that. So they went to the autumn equinox. She just announced that Hunt was her mate and her prince, and her father couldn't dispute her because they were in public and it would look embarrassing if he was having to have a fight with her in public. Hunt is now the official prince of the Fae, which I think is so hilarious and I love it, and the two of them are finally on the same path. They were fighting a little bit because Ice, she pulled an Aelin on us and she had the Viper search for Emil because she knew that she would have a better chance of finding him. She went and found Emil. Bryce knew that she did and they went to go pick up the package. She told no one other than Fury, set everything up to bring Emil to her parents. So now Emil is legally her brother and they pretended that they adopted this human child whose name is now Cooper. It was a really good thing objectively that she did, but Hunt was pissed because she was like, I thought we were a team, you should have told me. And both of them said some really stupid things. I do agree that Bryce did an objectively very good thing. Like that is so nice of her to like talk to her parents and like set this all up. It should have been on her to share it at least with Hunt. I understand not telling it to everybody because the less people know the better, but I do think that Hunt should have known because they were on this mission together, they're mates, like, you know, you shouldn't hide stuff like that. But they made up. Every time I think that the smut has gotten like another level, I'm always just like, Sarah J Maas. I really like the development of their relationship. I loved how Hunt absolutely goes feral every time that Bryce is in danger because like that's his mate. I love Bryce and Hunt, but listen, another couple is stealing the show. Day and night. It is Rune and Agent Day. If you know me at all, you know that my favorite trope is anonymous messaging between the couple where they may or may not know each other IRL. They message each other anonymously online. I cannot believe that that was worked into this because Rune is communicating with Day only in their mind because he's able to like mind speak. They just keep meeting like night after night, and she told him like this little story. I think it was about her life. It was just so gentle and so cute, and what I think is happening is that they just tried to meet each other in person. He was like, I have to meet you. He was like, we can meet at the autumn equinox. He was escorting his fiance, who like, she actually has a secret of her own. She's gay, for Celestina, the archangel. Rune told Day, like, meet me at the fountain. He goes to the fountain, the harpy's there, but he says like, Day, and she's like, what? Another person was there watching, and it was the Hind. I think confirms my theory that this is Lydia. I think it's Lydia who's been communicating with him. It's so cute because she was like, I saw you, and she like says his name because she knows it's Rune now because she saw him there. They like have this connection and he kisses her and then she's awoken and she has to go. Oh my god, I want him to find her so bad. Like I want them to be together IRL so bad. Their relationship is so cute. She was like, you remind me that there's good people in the world. She was like, you make me feel alive. Like, oh my god, it's so like forbidden trope. It's just so good. I'm like giggling and like kicking my feet thinking about it. They were an unexpected couple. I'm just speeding through it and I have a really bad feeling because like obviously like if it is the Hind, like she's so deep in with the archangels, there's no way for them really to like be together. I hope the reveal comes by the end of this book because she knows who he is and she doesn't care. Like she's talked about it. Like she wasn't like pissed. She was more so happy that she figured out who he was and she was like smiling. I feel like he's gonna have a harder time because he hates the Hind. And also like secondary to that, the found family in this is getting so good. We have Declan, Ethan, Flynn, Rune, Cormac, and Tharian are all living together, who are all like becoming really close. I'm really happy that Ethan actually went to go live with Rune because he was pining after Bryce so much. We got his point of view and he was like, I thought this was my mate. I thought this was the woman I was gonna marry. I thought this is the mother of my children. And like, that's just so sad. Like, he just has to like look at them and like watch them be newly mated. I'm really glad that he moved in for Rune. Not only for that, but also because he just needed some friends. Like, he lost his pack, he lost his brother, his parents, like they're all gone and he has no one. And I'm so glad that Rune and the Fae friends like took him in, no questions, and they're getting really close, and I really like that about them. Just finished. Oh my god, it's 1 in the morning and I just finished. 5 stars, first of all. Let's just get that out of the way. Obviously 5 stars. I'm home. I'm home in Valaris with my husband, with my family, in the townhouse. Are you kidding? I knew it was coming, but I thought we were only gonna see Reese. I did not expect to see like everyone there. The fact that Azriel was the one who found her, she can't understand them because they transferred Earths 15,000 years ago. And Amarin is like floored to hear her speak the old language of the Fae. Oh my god, I missed ACOTAR so much. I just reread that series. So glad I did because it prepared me for this. It also got me really excited because they mentioned how some of the Fae used to come from a world where everyone had an animal form. Throne of Glass. That's right. That's right. Right. The plot twist that the Asteri are just parasites that herd different organisms into a planet to feed off of them. Fantastic. And the fact that, oh my god, Danica had a mate. If I were Bryce, I'd be pissed at her from the grave. What didn't this girl keep from Bryce, really? Like, I mean, like, she had a mate for 2 years. And the fact that her and Bryce actually were in similar situations because she also was in love with the slave. She was in love with Braxian. And the fact that he was a slave to Sandriel, the same way Hunt was. The ending of this, when they tattooed Hunt's brow again to make him a slave again. Oh, Hypaxia, get your butt up in here. Celestina sold them out, you freaking oh my god. And then Rune and Lydia, it was Lydia. So they're mated now because he says it. He's like, I can smell like, you know, like my scent entwined with hers, but nobody else can really smell it. So I'm wondering what's going on with that. He's actively blocking her from his mind because he's so mad at her, but at the same time, like, Pollux is like all up on her and he's getting so pissed. I need to read book 3. It's 1 in the morning. I can't start it tonight. All right, guys, let's do an update on House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 3 in the Crescent City series. I have read about 25% of this book so far. So I am at page 204, chapter 20. This book has just reminded me how much I miss Valaris. So attached to that universe and that place and those characters. Like, spending some time with Reese and Nesta and Azriel again has made me so happy, especially Nesta. I think I said it in my vlog of like me reading A Court of Silver Flames for the first time. I would take any content of her as her reformed self, as her content, mentally healthy self, doing normal activities. And like, this is her. Like, this is her being happy, being in a good place. This is her interacting with her family, being her badass, nonchalant, does not give a shit self. I love that she volunteered to do this because she recognized the star on Bryce's chest. I love that Azriel is with her, and I really like the fact that they're trying to figure out what technology is, and they pull out her cell phone and Nesta's like, can you teach me how to use that? And she's like, sure, why? And she's like, it's been driving us crazy. We don't know what it does. And I just think that's so cute. And when Nesta starts asking her questions about like technology, Bryce is like, once again, I don't know how it actually works. And Nesta's like, you dumb bitch. Oh, I love Nesta. I missed her so much. Additionally, they just proposed the insane idea to bite off Rune's hand. Are you guys insane? Sir, you're dehydrated. Like, can you please? Lydia and Rune are still not talking, and Rune was like, you're dead to me. They are such a good couple. I don't know if I like them better than like Hunt and Bryce because they're the main couple. Damn, like as a side couple, like, oh my god, I love them so much. Like, just the premise of how they met, and I need them to be okay again in this book. She is trying so hard to save him. Like, she went to go see his friends. My favorite thing that she said, they were like, why are you trying to save them? She was like, Hunt is valuable because he is the Umbra Morta. Baxian is valuable because he's a really good spy. And they're like, why is Rune valuable? And she goes, he's valuable to me. That's wifey material right there. Also, we just got the bombshell because I'm in the caves right now. She's seeing like the story of how the Asteri took over Midgard. Thea, Adis had painted as this like victim who was like taken over by the Asteri. She was tricked by Pelias. However, she was a murdering bitch and she got greedy. They had already overthrown the Asteri. They already won because they used the Dread Trove, which included the horn. But she got so greedy, she killed her husband. And then her and Pelias opened the doors. She thought the Asteri were dead and she was like going to take over and conquer other Fae lands. And instead it was the Asteri in a different form. Crazy that she ended up also being a terrible human being. Now I'm waiting for her because Bryce has not revealed the fact that she has the horn tattooed on her back. She just told them that she has starlight as power, and then they know that if they give her energy that she will be able to distribute it. Coolest thing I thought was that when she absorbed his power, she said it felt like drinking 100 proof alcohol. Like it felt pure and undiluted. The hologram in the cave is telling her why the Fae have dwindled in power in Midgard. It's because they've been giving over the power from the land, from their bodies to the Asteri, and so it's limiting them in their capacity. And that happened in Prythian. Like they dwindled, and then once they were able to stop giving over their power and they were pilfering the land rewarded them and they were able to grow again in power to the high Fae that they are now. I think that's such a cool concept. I'm having a really good time. I like seeing all the characters. I wish I were seeing more of like Feyre and Rhys, but right now it's Nesta and Azriel. And like I said, I love Nesta content. I'm now 41% of the way through the book. It's honestly kind of confusing me. It makes the pacing seem incredibly strange because you have so many different scenes going on. Bryce just left Prythian and she's back in her world. And then at the same time, you have Hunt and Lydia and Rune who were like absolutely 10 out of 10 suffering. Rune just had his hand dismembered. And then in the next scene, you have Ethan getting a part-time job. The stakes are like not the same in each scene, so it makes it seem incredibly disruptive. I just realized my computer could do this. Prepare to be sick of me. Rune tried and failed to process what he'd heard. Lydia had children. What the fuck? From where? From whom? 80% of the way through this book and I just had to throw it. I just had to throw this book because I was getting so frustrated with it. The amount of times Therion volunteers to marry someone should be studied. Go to therapy. I understand the breeding potential is like really valued in this society, whatever, but stop offering to marry people. It's a bad idea every single time and I'm just like so done with it. I'm getting so annoyed with him and I'm not even sure if I like him. Like, I'm not enjoying it as much as the others. I'm still consuming it at a rapid pace because the plot is so good, but I feel like as a whole, the characters, I'm not as attached to them as I am with Sarah J Maas's other novels. If you watch my vlog on like the Throne of Glass series or the Akatar series, like you know that I was so attached to all of the side characters. If Sarah J Maas was like, I'm gonna write a novella about Elias and Vivian, or I'm gonna write another book about Manon and Dorian, or like Elide and Lorcan, I would be so happy and like over the moon to get any more content about them. That's something I love about Sarah J Maas's novels. Like she has the ability to like make me so attached to these side characters with very little exposition about them. For some reason, the people in this novel who are like getting so much time are pissing me off. Bryce and Hunt, they kept fighting about like whether they were going to war or not. Bestie, we're in the third book now. I feel like you should have thought about this. The time to fight over that was in book 2 when you were like leading up to the high stakes, not at 60% way through the third book. Like I understand their hesitations. His hesitations are super valid. I'm not saying they're not. I just think the timing was weird. Bryce is a good person, but like they just keep making bad decisions. Case in point, she opened a portal to Prythian, gave her parents to Nesta in exchange for the mask. Didn't tell them. And then she didn't bring Cooper, who for all intents and purposes is their child and her brother. She decided to leave him behind. Granted, he is protected. He's with like Baxian and Fury and Juniper. This kid lost his sister, lost their parents. He finally finds a new family. He's gotten attached to them. That's their kid now. And she separated them. And she knew it. She was like, my parents are never gonna forgive me for doing this. That's so stupid. The characters in this are just making dumb decision after dumb decision. It's driving me crazy. I just finished House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J Maas. I have a lot of thoughts and prayers, because this book, such a letdown. I'm so sorry. I thought the plot of this entire series was so good. The setting was good. I really loved book 1 and book 2, like you guys saw. Like, they were both 5 stars because of the setting and the plot and the build up. Like, I thought we were heading to a good place. But this is the reason why I love Sarah J Maas novels so much, is that it's the characters. And I feel like the characters in this story were sacrificed for the plot. Bryce, because of this book, is my least favorite FMC. Like, she does not hold a candle to Aelin, to Feyre, to Nesta. Oh my god, Nesta was only in very little scenes in this book. She ate Bryce up. The most exciting part of this book was at the end when Ember said to Nesta, "It was amazing to meet you." She was like, "You will figure it out." And then Bryce gave her the Star Sword and said, "I believe there's a reason you got a tattoo on you. You should figure it out." And that's really terrible because like book 1 and book 2 were leading to such a good place. The endings of book 1 and book 2 were just so good. She knows how to make that last 10% super compelling. And this was no different. Like, I peeled through this book really quickly. The battle and the plot are not everything. Your characters have to be strong. I'm really mad at Bryce. Bryce was like, I felt incredibly selfish in this book. She was not sharing anything with anyone, including Hunt, who she's asking, like, I need you to give 110%. Then I'm not going to tell you what I want you to do. I'm just going to like manipulate you into doing it. And then on the next hand, she would complain to Baxian about how Danica didn't tell her anything. And it's, girl, you're a hypocrite. What I did not like was that she left her adoptive brother in her world. Okay, you did all this work to save this child. Like, her and Hunt were really fighting about this in book 2. And she was like, I'm really sorry, but like, he's just a child. He's a human child. He has no powers. Like, I know that you might not value that, but I value that. Like, he's a human. I need to save him. I need to find him. And then for her to give him to her family. That's their son now. That was the conflict in book 2. And then in book 3, she abandons him. Bruh. Hunt and Bryce as a couple, I feel like halted in this book. Like, they kept having these like very grand moments of love, and they would be like, this is my partner, this is my husband, this is my wife, this is my mate, like blah blah. And then in the next moment, Hunt would be like, I hated her in that moment. What'd you just say? It didn't feel they were the same couple from books 1 and 2 like at all. In this book, they're arguing at 60%, more than halfway through the book. And this book is 800 pages. And I think it was just like halting the progression or drawing it out to where it was just way too rushed at the end. There was not enough time for them to flush all that out. And then all of a sudden Hunt was just like cool with doing everything again. Then let's discuss the next couple, which was Lydia and Rune. They had such good potential. Okay, they had such good potential. Second best part after Nesta in this book was Lydia serving for her country, if you get what I mean. She was an amazing character. And the way that I squealed when she revealed that she named Bran after Brannet because she came from an old bloodline and that her power was Firebringer. I would scream if Lydia and Aelin met each other. Her progression was the one that I actually appreciated the most. She finally was able to reveal herself as Lydia, not as the Hind. She was finally trying to open up to Rune. Because of all the plot points and all of this like Bryce and Hunt arguing, I feel like we did not get enough of Rune and Lydia. They are one of the most special like couples that I've read about. I really wanted more about them. Like, book 2 was so amazing. Like, their scenes together were so good. What other insignificant character am I forgetting about? Ethan. Okay, I knew where we were going with him. He needed to step up and realize that he didn't need an heir. He needed to step up and become alpha. What I didn't like is that he kept stumbling into growth. He did not choose to grow. He kept being promoted against his will, and trying to get to Sigrid amounted to nothing. That pissed me off like nothing else. Book 2 literally ended with Ethan saving Sigrid. Sigrid opens her eyes and he's like, it's the Fendir heir. In this book, he kills her, and then suddenly his mission, his main mission in this book is to try to revive her from being a Reaper. That falls through. And then all of a sudden, Bryce meets up with him and she's like, yeah, you're gonna need to table that because I need an antidote to this parasite. This whole book is him doing part-time jobs, I swear to God. Let's talk about the next character, Tharion. Tharion ended the book looking for his wife, which is Sathia. Sathia and him are in a little bit of a marriage of convenience. But then what I didn't expect, which Sathia was introduced like halfway through the book, irrelevant. But I ended up actually liking her a little bit. Like, I feel like she was a good balance for Tharion. Then we got thrown the loop of the Viper Queen having her ex-lover, I guess, being her henchman, who's like under her venomous spell or whatever. And then she leaves Tharion to go help him. I don't know about all that. I'm pretty sure that maybe Theron will get a book. At this moment in time, I do not give a shit about him. Alexa, play Man-Child by Sabrina Carpenter. And here's another thing. I literally get to the end of this book. There's a quote in there. Bryce says, "I'm not the same girl that ran through this hall a week ago." A week ago? This book is a week long. You're telling me that she went to a whole nother universe and then a week later she opens up a black hole to kill the rulers of her other universe? What the in a week? As far as the series as a whole, I'm still going to be recommending people do read Crescent City. I do think that books 1 and 2 were just so good. In terms of best to least best, I'm gonna go in series order. I think the best is House of Earth and Blood, next best is Sky and Breath, and then the least obviously is House of Flame and Shadow. I don't know if I said the rating. I rated it 3 stars, which isn't like bad in my book. That's still good. This series is still worth the read though, just because of the plot and the setting, even if the character development did suffer. I am officially done with the Crescent City series. I mean, as far as all the books that have been released. Please let me know what you guys thought about the series. I would love to hear your opinion. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Look at her style from the street. Look at her style from the ghetto.